financial literacy, and the human condition. Welcome to Financial Fitness with the Money Doctor, Dr. Francis Rayam.
Bear Country 95.3. It's Bear in the Morning. I'm Jess, and I'm joined by the Money Doctor, Dr. Francis Rayam. Hi.
Hey, Jess, what about the rest of us?
What do you mean?
You know, the people who aren't young enough to get a discount because they're a student, and they're not old enough to get a perk because they're a senior.
And this was what we talked about for Saturday's show. And it was fun because I'm all about Groupon, discount, matinee movie. Anyway, I can save a couple of dollars.
Yeah, we talked about sneaky little discounts that, and sometimes big discounts that you probably qualify for and don't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
So these are not things that you have to be low income to qualify for, or you have to be a certain age. Everybody can use these, even the people that are under 25 or 30, and even the seniors. But there were some fun things, and we went through a whole list of them. So, you know, just a couple little highlights. One might be ask your HR person for some of the discounts that we're talking about. You may already have a discount on your cell phone through the company you work for.
Yeah, I would have never thought that you would get a discount through the company.
You just have to remember that when there's power, when there are numbers, there's strength. Mm-hmm. And so when they have a lot of employees, they may get a good deal and they may pass that along to employees. You might get a discount on software, or if you shop at that big red Target store, I gave you some ways to get serious discounts there on everything from groceries to baby items, right? Travel discounts we talked about, things that we never talked about before, right? That would allow you to really save money when you're traveling. And one of my favorite things was about AARP. And remember, I said, we're not talking to seniors here. Seniors can use it, but there's an AARP tip we give in this show that will tell you how you can take advantage of those discounts. And they are huge. AARP is enormous. They get really great rates on all kinds of things.
Yeah, there was a lot of tips that I'm planning on using right away. So if you like to save money like I do, don't miss Saturday's show. In the meantime, though, I want to give out your phone number.
Of course, it's 413-773-3333.
And you can go to hugyourmoney.com. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jess. Hi, it's Francis. I just wanted to take a minute to thank you for watching this video. If you're catching us on YouTube, please help us help others by clicking like, subscribe, and all notifications so you don't miss any videos. And check back for the next video. I think you're going to love it. Thanks again. For more information, you can visit us at hugyourmoney.com.
Welcome to Financial Fitness. I'm Jess Tyler, along with the Money Doctor, Dr. Francis Rayam. Hi.
Hi, Jess. How are you?
I am good. What are we covering today?
All right. If you're not young enough to get a student perk, right, a student discount, you're not old enough to get a senior perk, you're stuck in the middle. Do you have any discounts available? And it turns out you do. Lots of them that you may not even know you qualify for.
Okay, this is my kind of show because you know I love like a Groupon, a discount of any kind. Makes me happy.
Well, we want to make you happy, Jess, that's for sure. Okay, so really, you know, what about the rest of us, right? Those sort of sneaky discounts that you might not even know you qualify for. So let's be honest. I mean, students and seniors get all the breaks, right? And the people in the middle, you know, you're either waiting until, wow, I can't wait till I get my senior discount, or you're just trying to figure out how are you going to stay afloat.
Or you're trying to tell the kids that they're only 6 today, only 6.
Have you done that? Have you actually done that?
Done that. Like when you got into like a restaurant and it's like kids under 6 eat free and they're 7, you're 6. I need to ask you, you're 6.
You know, it's funny because I'm tiny, right? I'm 5 feet tall. My family used to drive me crazy when I was a kid. I mean, this is a little personal stuff, but that's what we're talking about today is personal savings, right? And they would say, "Oh no, you can do it. Tell them you're under 12." And I'd be like 14. I don't want to tell them I'm under 12.
Right.
So how can you save money if you're not going to do that? All right, first up, and we're going to talk about things like tuition, home discounts, you know, you name it, we're going to talk about it. Shopping discounts.
Okay.
Right? All right, but first up, let's talk about home. We just off air, we're talking a little bit about it's a heat wave right now.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't have an air conditioner on purpose. I have an air conditioner. I don't run it. I run the whole house fan at night and I draw the cool air in. But that means you have to have cool air to do it. So if you're not able to do that, and even that uses energy, how might you save some money, regardless of whether you're low income or what age you are. Doesn't matter. You don't have to qualify for this. There, in almost every state, is some sort of savings program like we have here called Mass Save. So there's an
Okay.
energy program of some sort. Now, we've talked about this before, that you might save money on your heating system or a cooling system. You might get a 0% loan, or you might just, get a big discount or some reimbursement. But did you know that you can get it on a refrigerator or a
No.
humidifier or a dehumidifier?
Is
Yeah.
this if you buy like a specific kind or
It's if you buy one that is Energy Star rated, right?
okay.
So you can get like $75 back, I think it is, on a refrigerator, and $40 back on dehumidifiers through Mass Save if you live in Massachusetts. So you can just go visit Mass Save. That's MASS, three S's, MASSSAVE.com, and you can book a free home energy audit. So the audit's free, then they're going to give you a bunch of energy saving light bulbs and some other information. They will reimburse. I think it even might be 100% now. I remember getting 75% reimbursement on my insulation in certain
Oh.
areas of my house.
Okay, so this is mainly though if you own and not rent, right?
This is if you own and not rent. However, that's a really good point. Tell your landlord.
Mm,
Want to be a
yeah.
friendly, happy tenant? Hey, guess what kind of discounts we can get?
Save me some money. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
been listening to the money doctor, and she says if you call, you can get these discounts. All right, let's talk about one that I think you can tell me if you know this. That if you do,
Okay.
it's fine, but I would surprised to find this. Amazon household sharing. Your Amazon
Oh,
Prime account?
yeah.
Yeah.
How can you share? What do you mean share? Like share the products you buy?
Two people in same household can share that membership. That's
Oh.
$139 savings a year.
Oh, well, I mean, everybody just uses mine in my family, whether they live in my house or not.
Yeah,
Everybody
well,
just,
I suppose that's true, but I have a situation where, we have two people that don't always live in the same house, right? But
hmm.
we have another address that's similar, and we can share that Amazon Prime account between us as long as things get shipped there. So, but that covers your streaming, everything under that
Hmm.
one Amazon account. So rather than paying $139 a piece for each of you, maybe you have an adult child living with you, or maybe there's somebody living with you that is not your spouse or partner, and you didn't know that you can use the sharing, but you can. So you could either split the
Yeah.
cost with them, right? And each share half, or you could just be a nice person and say, hey, use my account.
Yeah, and also be careful if you keep your credit card in there because if you have a nephew like mine,
Oh,
suddenly I have like a new movie release that I've rented like three times a week. I'm like, oh, did I enjoy that movie? And he'll just rent right on there.
yeah, yeah. Well,
A separate issue.
a separate issue. Yeah, I actually had a client who had several grandchildren. He was the nice grandfather, and they were all
Yep.
living with him. And he would come to me and say, can you help me? Because there's all these charges on my bank account. And I would call the bank and they'd say, well, it's legit, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh, speaking of that, streaming, here's a little streaming trick, you can use. You can rotate. You know how we talk about credit reports? You can rotate your credit reports so you draw one from one credit reporting agency and one from another the next quarter. Do the same thing with your streaming.
Okay.
Instead of having them all loaded up together, pay for Hulu while you need it, maybe watch it for a few months, cancel it, then pay for Netflix for a few months, whatever, so that they're not all on all at the same time. So you
Yeah,
can
that's a good
rotate your
idea. And a
streaming
lot of
service.
times the shows are staggered. So like a new show will be out on Hulu and then another new one might be coming in the fall on a different thing. I also do my little trick. If there's a show I really want to watch and I know I'm going to watch it quickly, I just do the free trial for 7 days.
Yeah,
Make sure I watch it before the trial is up and then cancel it.
we did call this sneaky tricks, and that's one of them. I
Yeah.
am a big fan of the trial and cancel. Uh, if I love it, I keep it, right? But
Hmm.
if it's not what I wanted, or if I only needed it for a moment, you can cancel. That's why they allow you to cancel. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you pay annually, if you have the cash flow to be able to pay annually, probably doesn't make sense to put it on a credit card at a high rate, right? You
Yeah.
have the cash flow to pay annually, or you can put it on a low rate card of some sort and you're sure you're going to pay it off. Paying for it annually will save you some money. Like Disney will be $132 a year, but if you pay for it annually, it's 109, right?
Hmm.
So all of these little things add up. They really do. Let's talk about auto and travel because it's the time of year
Okay.
that people are traveling for vacation. Well, people are always traveling for vacation, right? But this time of year, people are really, traveling. Gas prices are high, all of that.
Mhm.
First thing I want to tell you is there's two big box. I hardly ever talk about a big box store, but today we're going to talk about a few because it means discounts, right?
Okay.
Power. Power means discounts, lots of people. So Costco or BJ's, if you're
Hmm.
traveling, even if you don't shop for bulk items there, right? You can get your travel discounts there. And they offer things like rental cars and hotels and cruises much lower than, am I going to say it? I don't know, Expedia, it's right. It's
Yeah.
lower than those things, up to 30% lower. So
Hmm.
here's an example. I looked up a rental car from in Boston. If you could rent a rental car, it was a 5-day rental car was $60 rather than $100 at some of the other sites.
Per day, you mean?
Yeah, per day.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, no,
Okay.
yeah.
Like, where are you getting 5 days for $60? I'm going there.
That was a long time ago. Yeah. But 40 bucks over 5 days, maybe it doesn't sound like much, but when you're trying to travel on the cheap, you want these kinds of things.
Yeah, it's a tank of gas, or hopefully for a small car. Yeah.
For sure. Amtrak does the smart fare thing. I think we've talked about this before. They do a smart fare thing where they rotate their fares.
Hmm.
Boston to New York. Again, this is in Massachusetts. You can do this anywhere that Amtrak is. Boston to New York on a rotated fare was like $32 instead of 68.
What does a
Okay.
rotated fare mean?
A rotated perk, actually. So
Oh,
they
okay.
don't always have it, but this week it might be
Right. So
Boston to
check
New York.
always
Another
because you don't
week it
know.
might be, yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Got it.
Um, Auto insurance, if you're going to drive your car, right?
Hmm.
Auto insurance perks, less than 7,500 miles a year, you can, if you have a clean driving record, get a
Hmm.
pretty good discount. But guess what? You
What?
have to ask for it. Most of
Yeah.
the insurance companies are not going to give it to you. But like Geico and some of the other companies, up to 30%
Oh,
discount
that's really good.
is huge on your auto
Yeah.
insurance, right?
Yeah.
But they won't tell you unless you ask because they don't want to give money away.
Hmm.
Now, I want to remind people that this is not if you are low income. It's not if you are under 25 or over 65. These are tips, perks, savings that everybody can use,
Well,
right?
don't you find, especially being a financial coach, it seems to me like the people that I know that have more money are more frugal and more, they find these kinds of things. It's not like they're just blowing money on whatever. It seems like they're really smart about what they're spending the extra money on versus what they're not.
I don't find
In
that.
general, you don't, okay.
No, I don't find that. What I find is that people with plenty of money who don't, I mean, maybe they have a little more time or they care a little bit more about big vacations where they see
Hmm.
big numbers, like we're going to, Europe for 3 weeks. Then they'll
Right.
shop, right? But most of the time it's like, yeah, I want that rental car. I get enough
I'll
money to
just
pay
get
for it.
it.
I don't really care. Where I do see that, and it does matter, is what we used to call the middle class, right? The
Hmm.
rest of the people that are not making a fortune and not skimping. They're kind of like doing okay, probably in their maybe not peak years, but building up in their late 30s, up to late 40s or even early 50s. Then they're saying, no, I really want to do this well, and I'm going to look at this. I'm going to put it into AI and ask where my best discounts are. I'm going to put in those travel sites and see how things compare. So yeah,
Hmm.
I think people are especially right now, the reason I'm doing this show right now, especially, is people are cutting back on things. And they may
Yeah.
be cutting back on things that don't need to be cut back on, right?
Okay. Another tip that you have brought up before in a past show, which I think is really important right now too, is when you're getting gas, make sure you join all those rewards programs because we're worried about gas going up. But even 5 cents a gallon, I just did it yesterday, like putting in a phone number to save it because a lot of times you forget, and some places go up to like 10 cents per gallon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Um, I've been doing that same thing for a long time. And one of the stores that I have that at, I have a few of them, right? But one of the stores that I have that at tells you what your lifetime savings are. And
Oh,
I'm
nice.
up to like $385 in gas savings at 10 cents a
Yeah.
gallon. I don't do anything about it. I just go to that station and I look for the price, right? I don't know. Yeah, I used to feel like when gas prices are low, if you're driving to the next town for a penny off your gallon, you're
Right.
wasting your money, right? But
Yeah.
when gas prices are higher, 10 cents a gallon matters. You start to add that up, right? Well, 10
Hmm.
cents a gallon would matter even if they were low, I guess. But you get my point. When prices are higher, people really start to find those deals. And that stuff does add up. And if you don't have to do anything to get it, that's fine. Speaking of that, there's a lot of retail shopping discount things that we can talk about too. Um, One of them that comes to mind is one with a big box store. You'll recognize it with a big red dial and white rings around it,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Giant red
And
balls in the parking lot. Yep.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
So
also did something that was really smart yesterday that I think you're going to be proud of. So I want to tell you about that too coming up.
great.
All right. If you want more info, you can go to hugyourmoney.com and we'll be back with part two of financial fitness with the money doctor, Dr. Francis Ram, next on WHMP.
Financial Fitness with the Money Doctor is underwritten by Franklin County Technical School. We build futures. Visit fcts.us or call 413-863-9561.
Welcome back to Financial Fitness. I'm Jess Tyler along with the money doctor, Dr. Francis Ram. Hi.
Hi, Jess.
We're talking about discounts. And what's interesting is you didn't tell me we were going to be talking about this. And yesterday I just did this because I have, 9 million subscriptions because I got rid of cable thinking I was going to save myself some money. And of course I've got all these TV ones. So I went through it. I'm like, oh, I don't really need this one. I don't need this one. I don't need this one. So when I went on to cancel, then all of a sudden all these offers popped up. Like I'm paying, I don't know, 12.99 per month for say Acorn because I like those murder mystery things. And they're like, if you keep it for 3 more months, you can get it for 2.99 a month.
Uh,
Or Stars, I think, was like 99 cents a month instead of what you're paying if so sometimes if you go and act like you're going to cancel, if
yeah.
it's something you really want to keep. I mean, I know what you're going to say, like if they're talking you into staying and you didn't really need it, you're not saving money. But if it's something you were planning on keeping anyway, if you do that, sometimes they'll give you a discount.
You're right. That is what I was going to say. But but, but yes, I think that's true. And I actually tell clients that, tell them you're going to leave. I
Hmm.
just told somebody close to me they were paying almost $300 a month in their internet, Xfinity stuff, right?
Oh,
And I
yeah.
was like, you can't, don't do that. Just
Yeah.
call them and say, no, I want to unbundle things. I want to leave. I'm going to stream. They hate that word, stream.
Hmm. Yeah.
But you can save a lot of money. Absolutely. No, I think, all's fair in love and war and getting discounts, especially if you're in that area that we're talking about where you're not young enough to get the student discounts, you're not old enough to get the senior perks, you're in the middle. Of course, everybody can use the tips we're giving you. They're not age specific, right?
Yeah.
But for those people in the middle, the working generation or generations that don't fit on either end of that pole, here's some tips. I told you we would talk about retail and everyday shopping tips.
Okay.
So that store with a big red circle, Target, right?
Hmm.
Target Circle has, I don't know if you've shopped in a Target lately, but depending on the size of the store, they now have grocery area.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can save on things, including fresh fruit. It's one of the most expensive things we buy is fruit, if
Hmm.
you're looking at fresh vegetables and fruit. So you get personalized discounts on produce, pantry staples, baby items, you name it. It's free to join and it's easy to clip coupons right from their app,
So
right?
it goes like right on your phone, probably, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
super easy, and you get some discounts, right? CVS has, and all these are free to join. Well, CVS has a little fee, I think,
Yeah.
$5. Maybe no, maybe it's free. CVS has an extra care pass thing. Uh, I think you pay $5 a
I
month,
think you
but you
pay five
get,
dollars too. Yeah.
yeah, you pay $5 a month, but you get $10 in promo bucks. That's what it
Right.
is.
I will
Uh,
say though with Target, okay, even though you're clipping coupons, I go in there and spend way more than I had planned because I always find 12 other things that I like. Do you actually go in there and just get what you need?
So I am pretty good at that, believe it or not.
Okay.
Target's not a store that I shop at a lot, to tell you the truth, but it's a good place to get some discounts. Um, yeah, I tend to make my list. I really
Hmm.
practice what I preach. I
Okay.
sounds so geeky, right? But I also have a lot of experience at this. I have experience at being very poor, right? I have
Yeah.
experience at digging out of a bankruptcy. I have experience at, launching a business, at growing it, and having to do a lot of things on a shoestring budget to begin with.
Hmm.
So, that you get some chops on that stuff. I know you know what I'm talking about, raising children, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, as a single mom, I mean, you hone some skills about getting discounts. And one of the things I have is I tend to make a list uh, when I'm not rushed, when I'm not hungry, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
When things
That's
are
a big
calmer.
one.
Yeah,
I
late
also
late
still
at
take
night.
your tip always that leave it in your cart for a while and then decide at the end,
Yeah.
which is so smart.
Give it a ride in your cart. That's what we
Yep.
say. Give it a ride in your cart. And if you still love it, before
Hmm.
you get to the before you get to the checkout, then you keep it. But you don't make these decisions at the checkout counter because that's where the pressure is. If you ever
Yeah.
find yourself saying, well, I'll just get it and I'll return it if it's not right, then you don't really love it right now,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? Although
And then
I'm
also it's
big
the
on returning stuff.
most dangerous place is by the cash register because they have all those last minute items.
Yeah, impulse buys. Yeah.
Hmm.
I will say though, I am a strong believer in returning things. If I get something and it's not right, right? It's
Hmm.
broken, it's not what they said it was going to be, you can bet I'm clicking that button and returning it, right?
This
Um,
reminds me, I have an Amazon package in my front seat of my car right now that has to be returned.
well, they've made it so easy though to return things now. Drive it over to the UPS store or whatever. It's a
Yeah.
piece of cake. So don't be shy about returning things. Never let guilt make you keep a package, for instance, like, oh, I ordered it and I shouldn't have, so I'll keep it, right?
Hmm.
Their models, believe me, the models are made for you to be able to return things. These companies are not going broke on it, or it wouldn't keep happening that you can return things for free.
Yeah.
So,
And this is also another area too, kind of like we talked about with the TV. Like, for example, I got Madden a basketball hoop for like a he's 6, so it was like an indoor basketball hoop at Christmas time, and he didn't like it. So I was going to return it, and then as I was returning it, they're like, "Are you sure you want to return it? We'll take $30 off if you don't return it." Like they were offering, and I still wanted to return it, but just if you check with that, sometimes it's the same thing as like the TV where they'll give you a discount in order to not return it.
I don't believe you that he's 6 anymore. I think he's 8.
He's giant. Yeah.
So I think that is very true. In fact, I recently had a very interesting experience, just the same sort of thing. I ordered something, it came in, there was nothing wrong with it, but
Hmm.
it wasn't working for my application. So I said I wanted to return it. And they said, keep it for free. Just keep
Oh,
it. And this has happened several times. Keep it for
yeah.
free. They don't want to pay the shipping back. The product was not worth as much uh, in product as it was in shipping that they had to
Hmm.
pay. So they
Well,
just
that
said,
didn't
keep
happen
it.
to me, but that would have been great.
You might find it more and more these days
Yeah.
because shipping costs are going up.
Yeah.
Everything's going up, right?
You
But
got to double check though too. Like you always tell me to double check, and I did double check on this. And when I returned it, I waited I don't know how many days to get my refund on my Amazon account, and they minus $10 off for I don't know some like problem with the product, like a damaged box or something, or it was used. And I called them on it. I'm like, I never even opened this. So
uh,
I want that $10 back. And they did credit me back, but I almost think that they do that to see if you even notice.
you wonder. I mean, I wonder about this stuff too. The days
Yeah.
of people paying attention and going, let's build this model so that, we'll do this and see if they notice. I think it starts with humans like that. But I do think that huge companies like Amazon are using algorithms, and I'm sure they
Hmm.
are programmed to do certain things like that that
Yeah.
are a little sneaky, a little sneaky so they don't have to pay the money. Speaking of a little sneaky, though, you can be a little sneaky and get some of these discounts. One of the things you can do is you can put some browser extensions on. These are little free things that just hide up there in your browser bar, but they work behind the scenes. I think we used to talk about one called Rakuten or something like that. Rakuten, I think, was one of the
Okay.
names. But right now, I'm talking about
Oh,
Retail
yeah,
Me
yeah.
Not,
I've
and
heard that.
Honey, right? Those two, they find discounts, so you can save 10 to 15% on some of these items if you just have
Okay.
that little thing up there. Nike.
Yep.
Macy's, Old Navy, they all give discounts to those Retail Me Not and Honey things. So if you're buying things like that, you don't have to search for codes. You just add here. You clicking on it right now, Jess. They just they,
Well, I
he's
saw one
making
that
a
was like
note.
there was one that was Capital One Shopping, and I'm like, is this a scam or is this legit? You know, where
Uh,
they say they save you money.
yeah, you do have to be careful. Do your
Yeah.
research, check, that's a good point. Anytime you're worried about it, type something into a browser. Is this a scam? Look at Snopes. Is this legit? You'll
Hmm.
get stuff that will pop up saying either this is not legit, it's a scam, stay away from it, or there's not enough information to know yet. That
Hmm.
always worries me. If there's not enough information to know yet, it's too
Yeah.
new for you to trust it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
If you're patient or if your birthday is coming up soon, you can exactly, go get a birthday discount at places like Panera, Sephora, Starbucks, free drinks, free pastries, mini makeup kits, those kinds of things.
Hmm.
Before we run out of time here, and we're almost out of time, I bet, I wanted to hit a couple of things that were really important. One is employer discounts, and one is tuition reimbursement. They sort of go hand in hand. You ask your HR person, right? You may already have discounts on things like your cell phone, believe it or not, through your employer,
Oh,
Verizon, AT&T. So yeah, a gym membership, I think some people know about, like, through their health benefit.
yeah.
Sometimes office software like Microsoft or Adobe, you might get a discounted rate if you're buying the program just because you're an employee of a certain company.
Hmm.
And absolutely, yes, financial wellness, whether it's through our company, Hug Your Money, or it's a different plan. But ask about financial wellness, which may be a perk, a free perk, or a discounted rate through your employer. And then
Yeah.
last but not least, tuition. Some of these companies will reimburse tuition, up to $5,250. So usually your first year, what a freshman would get in college, if you're not doing the free tuition thing through, community college already.
Hmm.
A few examples would be Starbucks, Amazon, Walmart. Those places will reimburse for tuition. So, always check their websites. Never just trust that I'm always right. I'm not omnipotent. And, but it's a good lead to start getting some discounts because you know what? You work hard. Your money should work harder and
Yeah.
smarter.
Another quick thing just before we go that you mentioned before, a lot of places where you think, oh, a senior discount, you have to be 65. There's a lot of places that start at like 50.
You know what? Great last tip. AARP. I can't believe I'm saying it. You do not have to be 50 to join AARP and get the discounts. You can
Oh, that's
join
awesome.
AARP at any age. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool. All right. Well, let's get your phone number to
Sure.
get
It's,
if anybody has any questions or more info.
of course, 413-773-3333.
And you can go to hugyourmoney.com. This was fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You know what we'll do next? We'll have coming up senior tips. We'll do an episode on senior tips and an episode
Okay.
for students or people under a certain age, under 30.
All right. Perfect. And we'll be back next week with another edition of Financial Fitness with the Money Doctor, Dr. Francis Ram, right here on WHMP.
Underwritten by